Yes. We can see a screen.
So uh, uh, now, can you go to the second slide,
Right.
Vandana?
Yes, sir.
So to
This is
begin
the
with, there are two words. One is legal, other was the research, and then the methodology comes. As we all are either PhD scholars or teachers, so we have passed our LLB and then LLM. So legal word is not something new, but we all know that volumes and volumes have been written. Schools and schools have been propounded to discuss what law means. So for me, as a research scholar, legal contains five things. Five things. I often say it is five P's. First is principles of law. Second is provisions of law. Third is policy of law. Fourth is precedents of law. And fifth is professional opinion. Now, when we say principles of law, we all know that this is the first thing that we begin with. Even if it is not written, many times the principles are not written. For example, presumption of innocence. You can hardly find a document, hardly find a statute where it is mentioned that presumption of innocence is a type of doctrine, and every trial, be it a trial under maybe IPC, be it a trial under counter-terror laws, every trial has to begin with presumption of innocence. So such is the strength of these principles of law. From constitutional law, we can see principle of constitutionality. We cannot find it in the Constitution. We cannot find it in the interpretation clause, uh, General Clauses Act. So, but every petition when it comes to the Supreme Court or High Court regarding constitutionality, the court has to begin with presumption of constitutionality. So that is principles of law. Such a strong thing which is not written, but which is for something in it. It's one of the most important norm to begin with. You cannot avoid this principle. Second is provisions of law. We all know what provisions of law means, black and white. It can be a constitutional legislation. It can be a primary legislation. It can be a subordinate legislation. Maybe judicial legislation also. Four types of legislations. Uh, Third is policy of law, P3. Now, policy of law looks like principles of law. But difference between principles of law and policy of law is that principles of law is generally permanent in character. Policy keeps on changing. One government comes, it has a one policy. Other government comes, it has a different policy to deal with uh, criminal law. So policy is something which is not as permanent as principles are. Of course, there are certain overlapping. P4 is precedent. When we say precedent of law, so what are the precedents of law? We all know precedents of law, but precedents of law again are of two types. One is conventions. In the Constitution, we find certain convention. Who will be the Chief Justice of India? Senior most judge will be the Chief Justice of the India. It is not written anywhere. It was written in NJSC Act, but it is not written now. By convention, it is happening. Convention of pro tem speaker. They are not written anywhere, but they are conventions. So they are precedents, developed from precedents. But more important precedents are judicial precedents. Judicial precedents are indeed have force of law, great force of law. In the Constitution itself recognizes that they are to be followed. They are to be followed by all authorities. They are binding, especially it is coming from the Supreme Court. So they are precedents. And fifth is professional opinion. Opinion of Law Commission of India, opinion of Professor Veer, opinion of Professor Dicey, opinion of Dias, opinion of Professor M.P. Singh sir, opinion of Professor Ved Kumari, opinion of a parliamentary committee report, professional opinion. So a law means the whole word legal or law consists, according to me, consists all five things: uh, principles of law, provisions of law, policy of law, precedents of law, and professional opinion. Now, why these five words are important? These five words are important because when we start doing research work and trying to select a topic, then we should look for these five areas. There can be maybe other areas also, but for the purpose of law, we should look for these five areas. Are we are am I doing some research work on principles, P1? Am I doing exploring something on provisions? Am I doing something on policy? Am I doing something on precedents? Or am I doing something on professional opinion, like which system is good for India? Should it be presidential or non-presidential? A professional opinion is there. So these are the five areas from where one can choose topic. Now, second word is research. And research word is something, means we all are aware, but there may be a small point which we may be missing. Sometimes I say that every day we do some research work. If you drive, these days the opportunities are less, but when you drive, during driving, if there are two ways to reach Delhi University, you think that which way would be better, left side or right side. Why? Because based on your experience, you know that this side is more crowded, there will be more jam. So with the passage of time, due to your experience, you have come to certain conclusion. You go to buy a cell phone. What do? You take help from your friends. You make Google search. You see newspaper reports. You see schemes. You do some search. But can it be said that that is a research work? Of course, when you start doing for cell phone, you have your budget and other limitations are there. But can we say it is a research work? You have collected information. What type of cell phones are there? What are the budget? What is the work that I am required to do? So if you are a law scholar, you may not require those type of cell phone or laptop which needs graphs and other things which an architect requires. So you have collected information, you have assembled information. Okay, this is good, this is good, this is not good for me, this is out of my budget. You have assembled all information. You have decorated it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 priority, you decide. But is it a research work? We do it every day. Many times when a student comes to us with assignment and maybe sometimes dissertation work which we are required to evaluate, or sometimes some PhD works also. There are collection of information, very good information. They have assembled properly, they have decorated well, but is it a research work? What is that which is missing? This is my first question to you all. I request you, any of you, to answer this question. That collection of facts, assembly of fact, decoration of fact, mentioning of precedents, mentioning of P5, maybe all P5 you have mentioned in your work. Is it a research work? I say it is not a research work. What is that particular thing which is missing? Yes, any of you can just give me an answer. What is that particular thing which is missing?
Do
Very
scholars
simple answer. You all know this answer.
Sir, it may be analysis.
Maybe analysis. Okay. Analysis means ठीक है. Analysis is one thing. Analysis of facts. Good. That you analyze the fact. For example, take example of from the cell phone. You can analyze what are the rates, which rate is suitable to you, which cell phone has better facility. Good. Analysis is missing. So analysis should be there. So in many cases, student write it. Sometimes they want to publish in journal. We know ILI has journal. We receive articles. We find things are there, but it lacks analysis. Excellent information has been given, but it lacks analysis. What else? Analysis is one thing. Okay. Any other thing? If you suggest this is the last, means I will then proceed for a next. Anyone who wants to try that something is missing? Okay, no problem. So in context of law, what we say is interpretation of facts. So collection of facts, assembly of facts, decoration of fact, they are not themselves research work. They are indeed part of research work. They are some steps in the direction of research work. They also take time. They are sometimes very useful also, but they lack research because of one important thing, and that is known as interpretation of facts. How do you interpret the fact? I will just give you one example. Vandanaji, can you go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
So suppose someone wants to do access to police station. How to approach the police for a complaint or something, some information that may not be a complaint, but some information which is relevant. Now COVID time is there, and therefore we are advised not to go unless it is very essential. You can imagine if there is a lockdown, there is of course there is complete impossibility. So what are the means to access to police station? So a person starts doing some work and he finds certain phone numbers, and then he finds phone numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is missing. I'm sorry, 6, 5. You can see there are 5 categories of information as phone numbers. You have collected these informations. You have assembled it 1 to 1, means one is maybe for Tilak Bridge police station, other can be of New Delhi police station, third can be of Purani Delhi police station, fourth can be of Shahdara police station. You have decorated it well. This is not just research work. Of course, it is very useful information for someone, but the research work will be when you start interpreting the facts. How will you interpret the fact? The first interpretation is not something that comes from space. So sometimes there is some confusion. What is original contribution? How to interpret fact? No, very simple things, which nobody has placed in this manner. So I find that out of 5 categories, there is only one police station which has 2 cell phone numbers. Rest have only 1 phone number. This is one interpretation of that. Second is, there are only 3 police stations which have displayed mobile numbers. Rest means 2 do not have given phone number. So as if we are still in the age of 20 years back, when cell phone is there everywhere, it has become an essentiality. Some of the police stations do not have cell phones. It seems they don't have cell phones. 4th and 6th or 5. 4th is still working on landline. Landline is useful because sometimes the phone does not work. Landline is very useful. There is clarity also. Advice. So with this fact, you can say, and you can say the last one is absolutely this 100 number is given phone number in the police station, which is universal for everyone. That indicates that in this data, first one seems to be little bit sensitive to public because they have given 2 phone numbers. 2 phone numbers. Last one is completely insensitive. Completely insensitive. There is one who has given the landline number. Then how this fact can further be interpreted? You can interpret it various ways. Maybe you can further do whether it is really accessible or not, but that is a different matter. My whole point is that if your data, your collection, data does not mean this type of data. A collection of Supreme Court judgments are also part of data. If there is no interpretation of fact by you, then that is not a research work. So many students, they miss this important point that there must be some interpretation of fact. What would be the basis of interpretation of facts? This P5 can be basis. There can be other reasons also, other basis. For example, jurisprudential schools of jurisprudence can be one basis. How a particular thing can be analyzed by Austin, how it can be analyzed by the schools of historical school of jurisprudence, so something like that. So yes, next slide. So now this basic things which I think it is important, that interpretation of fact is very, very important. And when you interpret the fact, there should be some rationale of that. People may agree, may not agree. Your interpretation may be completely weird. Your interpretation may be, means you can be the only person interpreting in that fashion. That hardly matters. If you have some basis, your interpretation is an original contribution, and that matters for research work. Now coming to this, that selection of topic. Now there are two ways to select topic. One is that your supervisor gives you topic, and then second is you select topic. There are two ways, and both ways have their strengths and weaknesses. Both ways have. So when you approach your supervisor, maybe during dissertation work, when you approach your supervisor might have told, किस पर research करेंगे आप बताइए, या आप ढूंढ के ले आइए. So when I was in LLM, and when my supervisor told or my teacher told कि कोई topic सोचा आपने, so I was thinking that इस topic मुझे बता देते, मैं क्या सोचूंगा, मैं तो अभी LLM कर रहा हूँ, मुझे क्या जानकारी है, अरे ये क्या मुझे फंसा दिया कहाँ पर, मैं क्या topic ढूंढूं, इनको ढूंढना चाहिए. But both have strengths and weaknesses. What is the strength of this? That when you yourself select the topic, first is that you yourself know your strengths and weaknesses, your choices. So you are the right person. You are the right person to know. Where you are interested in criminal law, you are interested in constitutional law, you are interested in IPR, you are interested in international law. The teacher does not know. Maybe you have very good marks in criminal law, but you may be interested in constitutional law. Maybe you have not good marks in Hindu law, but you may be interested in Hindu law. So this is one thing, that your interest, it is only you know that interest. Second, when you start looking for a topic, you do some work, and during that, in that process, you read something, you know something, you learn something, you discuss with others. So this is a learning process which is very, very essential. This learning is very essential, how to select a topic, and then you look for what type of topic. अच्छा भाई, आजकल तो ये चल रहा है, टेररिज्म पे चल रहा है, टेररिज्म टॉपिक लिया जाएगा, अखबार में आ गया है, टेररिज्म पे टॉपिक ले गया, ठीक है. दिस इज ऑल्सो ए वे. You have seen a protest somewhere, then the protest was declared unlawful, 144 लागू हो गया. Now you have in mind, नहीं, protest पर, right to protest तो है हमारे पास, इस पर रिसर्च करेंगे. So your mind starts working. So when the supervisor, when the teacher says that you select a topic, indeed your mind starts working in that direction. So therefore, there is great strength in saying that the student should select a topic. Sometimes the supervisors also select topic. The reasons are simple. One reason is that the supervisor wants research in a particular direction, because he knows that what is the gray area. This is his experience is that. Take example of appointment of judges. Now, appointment of judges is a type of very fashionable topic, and many people take it, and lot of disputes are there in appointment of judges. So you have taken appointment of judges, and you say that, sir, I will examine all case laws and I will see whether collegium system is working well or not working well. So I will study all case laws. I will study USA law and USA situation, position in UK, and what is the situation in South Africa, and this. Now the difficulty is that, problem is that supervisor has something in mind even in appointment of judges. What is that? Supervisor knows that these are the areas which are not still unexplored. A lot of things have already been written. So whatever you will write, you can be some information for you that can be new to you, but it may not be contributing factor for development of law. It may not be very much useful because a lot had already been written in the areas of appointment of judges. So in that case, he knows that in appointment of judges, there is one area where a lot of work has to be done. Can anyone suggest me in appointment of judges an area where work has not been done? You cannot find materials. I see there are 28 participants. 26, I think 26 must be PhD scholars or other students.
Only PhD scholars, sir.
All PhD scholars.
Yes.
Yes, please. Appointment of judges. One area. There can be many areas. I'm not telling. So you just think maybe your area is correct. One area where work is required but work has not yet been done.
Can we say elections, the way the elections to parliament or state assemblies happen?
No. I'm not on that. I'm requesting, Akanksha, I'm requesting in the area of appointment of judges. In the area of one LLM scholar comes to you, says, Akanksha, please tell me, I want to do work on appointment of judges. It is very interesting topic to me. I want to work on appointment of judges. Please tell me one area in the appointment of judges where work has not been done. What will you suggest?
Sir, can we say that appointment of eminent jurists, the criteria?
Appointment of eminent jurists. That's good. Very good. Very good. So this is an area which is provided under law, under the constitution. Last 70 years it remained unused. There are some newspaper reports here and there कि इनको सोचा गया था, आपके एक पुराने प्रोफेसर हैं उनको भी सोचा गया था, बट अभी तक किया क्यों नहीं? अमेरिका में हुआ और भी कई जगहों पे हुआ, हमारे यहाँ क्यों नहीं करते? तो दिस इज एन एरिया, आप इस पे ढूंढेंगे तो आपको काम बहुत कम मिलेगा, एक दो काम हुए होंगे. ठीक है, वेरी गुड दीपक, बहुत अच्छा. और कोई एरिया?
Sir, can we look at from the perspective of why there is less number of women when we talk about appointment of judges?
Yes, that's good. That's good.
That's a gendered view. We need to look at the underlying reasons for it.
Yes,
so probably we can find the target group and interact with them.
Yeah. Yes, Swati, good. So this is again another area. Yes, Purnima, please.
In continuation to what Swati said, we can also say that the representation of LGBTQ groups in the judiciary, where the recent Delhi High Court Delhi High Court had requested for had given their approval for the appointment of one leading lawyer who is
got the point. Yes, Purnima. Got the point.
So that would be one area where we have advocated the rights of LGBT group, but judiciary does not represent, or there has been some issues and hiccups from the judiciary to.
Yes, got the point, Purnima. Good. So, yes, anyone can try, because I think there is one important thing missing. These three are very good, excellent, but there is one area which is missing. There can be many, You can try. Give it a try. Okay, ठीक है. So I will come to this particular point, and so that the curiosity remains. And I will come to this point when I will discuss certain point on how to select these topics. So and if somehow if I forget, please let me know. Please remind me. Vandana ji, please आप चेंज करिए स्लाइड.
Yes, sir.
Sir, may I add something?
हाँ दीपक बताइए.
Sir, actually, there was a judgment of Supreme Court regarding appointment of judges in higher judiciary. The judges who are appointed as lower judiciary, they are not eligible to appear for higher judiciary exams.
Got the point.
And there is a discussion that the judges who are being appointed in lower judiciary must have experience beforehand instead of just getting appointed in the judiciary just after passing the.
Good. Got the point. Got that can be one area. Got the point. ठीक है. Next slide. ये हो गया. Discuss कर लिया मैंने ये.
All right. This is sixth slide.
हाँ ये advantage disadvantage. Yes. Now I come to joint exercise. So I think the best way is the joint exercise of supervisor and the research scholar. Both try to find the topic. Exact topic. Why this is so? Because then both of you, in the beginning itself, you are aware whether to what extent the temperament of both persons meet. So what happened what happened sometime? Let me share my experience. That one student is very interested in doing something on IPR. My area is not IPR, like you have an IPR expert, Vandana ji. My area is criminal law or constitutional law. So I suggest the student that, see, my limitation is that I cannot do something in IPR. If you want to do, you do it, but you cannot get serious inputs from my side. So it is better that in both cases there should be some joint exercise. So is it possible that you can do penal enforcement of IPR? So that will, so my area remains with me and his interest remains with him, and this is how you can select a topic where your supervisor and the research scholar both agree. So this is, yes, please, next slide, Vandana. Yes. Now I will just move the focus entirely from the previous discussion to a new type of discussion. And the discussion is area of research and title of research work same thing? And the answer is no and never. And this is another point where I found that research scholars and they commit some blunder. So, for example, human rights and terrorism. Often I have received a synopsis that my synopsis is on human rights and terrorism. My synopsis is child rights and human rights. They are not topic of research. They are not title of research. They are one area of research. Why it is area of research? Because human rights itself is very wide. Terrorism itself is very wide. When you say terrorism, it includes all types of terrorism, domestic terrorism, international terrorism. Means it includes Naxal terrorism and other terrorism also. So when you say terrorism and human rights, this is just an area. It is good that you have chosen an area. So you must at first choose an area instead of choosing a title at first. If you have already made up your mind, that is okay. That is okay. But here, therefore, you must at first choose your area of research rather than choosing your topic of research or title of research. And how do you choose your area? As I have told you, the first thing is that whether that area is an area of interest for you or not. whether that you have means you think very closely about that topic. Means it must be a topic of your interest, not because your friend has said, not because the teacher has said, not because supervisor has said, not because in the newspapers it is coming, not because someone has promised you something. आप इस एरिया में कर लीजिए, आगे बहुत स्कोप है. I've often heard this thing. These things are, I don't dismiss these points, but these things are not decisive. Decisive thing should be whether it interests you or not. Are you interested in that particular area? So is it which area? In criminal law you want to do crime against women? This can be one area. Cyber crime can be another. Counter terror laws can be other. Crime against children, that can be fourth. Then crime against property, that can be fifth. Crime like forgery. So new crimes like stalking. So which area? You have to select an area. This is important based on your interest. Based on your interest, that I told you initially that you are the right person to know what is your interest. Now, very difficult to sometimes choose the area of interest, which one is of interest. Let me share with you one illustration from ILI. There was a very good student who was in criminal law, and one reason was that the student was not only practicing, somehow there were certain cases against that student also. So, and therefore the student used to come to me and discuss very important things. Means I used to learn a lot, practical aspect and theoretical aspect on certain things. In the second semester, second year, those days ILI had 2-year course. I came to know that the student has not taken criminal law group, but the student has taken IPR group. So I was little bit surprised. I thought, okay, maybe maybe the student must have some interest in IPR also. I never knew it. But then I called the student and asked that you are very good in criminal law. You have means command over various things, and why did you take topic in IPR? So the student told me that I asked you that, do you have interest? The student said, no sir, I don't have much interest, but I have heard that there are much scope in IPR. I told definitely IPR has greater scope, there is no doubt. Criminal law, you cannot be a criminal lawyer immediately because a lot field is already occupied by various people, but IPR you can you can develop, and then new things are coming also. So any other thing, then besides scope, the student told me that there are some places where vacancies are coming and I can apply for that. So I told that if someone has promised you that you will get it, then it's all right. But if it is not so, then I think you are committing a mistake. Why? Because if you will be in IPR, you will not have interest in reading, studying, and submitting any good research work. Ultimately, maybe it may affect your marks also. And even if you get good marks, you go for interview board, you may not perform well because you are not interested in that. So ultimately, after 6 months, the student has realized that he has committed a mistake, and so this is natural. Let me tell you, this is natural and normal. It happen to me also. When I was in LLM, I had interest in maybe criminal law and constitutional law, but I took other areas because of various reasons. I was preparing for some competitions, and the areas that I took were easier to pass. So many things are there, but you are PhD scholar. You're not LLM scholar. PhD scholar, and PhD means with the passage of time, PhD is becoming more and more important. You know, now UGC has said that PhD is compulsory. With the passage of time, when foreign universities will have campus here, maybe Leeds, maybe Oxford, maybe Harvard, maybe Cambridge here, they will look for a PhD. So a PhD can be highly rewarding in next 4 or 5 years. So that's why I suggest that you do your PhD, you select a PhD topic, not based on the scope, not based on what others have promised, a vague type of promise made, but an area which is definitely an area of interest. Of course, you should make a rational decision, but your area of interest is important. Now, very difficult to know sometime area of interest. It can be maybe you got best marks, maybe the area where आपको जब आपको मौका मिलता है आपको वही पढ़ने का मन करता है. This is one thing. A type of hobby. आपको पढ़ने में बहुत मजा आता है, ठीक है, अच्छा लगता है पढ़ने में, जैसा मौका मिलता है. That is an area of interest. That is an area of interest. I understand that you can develop your interest also. That is also a very good skill, that you develop your interest. So you have developed. So first thing that you have found an area of research, and you found that area of research can be your human rights and terrorism you want to do, or maybe child rights as human rights you want to do. But please don't don't commit this mistake of that is the topic of research. Now in child rights, you have to jot down, you have to narrow down which child in labor, child in domestic services, child who is trafficked, engaged in prostitution, child who has pressure these days of getting 95%, 98% marks, child who is a victim of either sexual abuse or drug abuse. 6 areas, see, six themes. So children under maybe who are subject matter of adoption. So these 6 or 7, I am just suggesting you, there can be indeed 10 such area. You have to jot down one particular area. So if you focus on slide, you see child labor and human rights, a legal critic. Now, prima facie, it seems okay, it's good. It sounds good, child labor and human rights, legal critic, but I don't think, and many of the scholars, many of research scholars, PhD scholars, many teachers, they agree that no, this is not right. Why? Child labor, again, child labor is one area, but child labor means what? Child labor in particular industry. Please concentrate on one industry. Then what is the geography? What is the universe of that? Are you going to, child labor is a problem in India and maybe in various countries, especially in South Asia. So what is your jurisdiction? What is the universe? Does the topic reflects the universe? So child labor in India and human rights, a legal critic. This sounds good, but when you add with a special reference to Uttar Pradesh. Why Uttar Pradesh? Because there are 28 states. I'm not talking about this union territories. There are other union territories also. If you are interested only in doing in India. So are you going to do all? If you are going to do all, I don't think that your selection of topic is good, because probably that is not going to deliver good result. You may do good PhD. You may be awarded also. So if you want to make a good topic, please concentrate on this particular area for the purpose of PhD. Child labor in India and human rights, a legal critique. Indeed, Uttar Pradesh itself is very big. You can choose a particular commissary for that purpose. Now this is one thing that I find is Indian legal research and other research are deficient vis-a-vis foreign countries. I'm not talking about all foreign countries. Recently, I came to know about one dissertation work that is only on section 295A of IPC. Only on 295A of IPC. We hardly find dissertation work on one complete simple section. 299, 300 you can find, because that is quite broad. You know what 295 A of IPC. It is not very broad, but a complete dissertation in a foreign country. That is why, so they select a topic, such a pinpointed topic, that the research scholar becomes master of that topic. Whenever there is a talk about section 295, anywhere, I will always refer to that work, like the work I'm referring here. A lot of work has been there, lot of Supreme Court judgments are there, lot of commentaries are there, but I will not forget to refer to that dissertation work, which is only on 295A. So pinpoint a topic, don't make it very broad. So whenever something comes in mind of anyone, he or she will remember, okay, oh, Arvind has done this particular topic. Gurdat has done this topic. Deepak has done this topic. Not just child labor, but this particular topic. So selection of topic is therefore extremely important, so that you have mastery over that particular topic. All 5 P's you are aware of that particular area. All 5 P's. If you say something, nobody can dismiss you lightly. People may agree, people may disagree. Your conclusion may be right, may be wrong, but people cannot ignore you. So now, so interest, I told you that interest is one, and then you select the topic, then it should be pinpointed. Now, when you select the topic, can we move to the next slide? Vandana ji.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, fortunately in PhD, you can do interest-based research. Projects are not interest-based research. Many projects, government gives project. If you go to somewhere, maybe you are with some lawyer, you are with some NGO, you have to do some need-based research. But that is the different thing. So now when you select a topic, you have selected an area, it is not easy to find a topic. Of course, many topics are in mind. So second important point is that I have already discussed with you, is the topic unexplored or explored? How will you find a topic is explored or unexplored? I would have asked you a question, but because the time is not there, I will just answer it. These days it has become easier. In my days, in the 90s, 1990, 2000, it was a little bit difficult to find whether the topic is explored or unexplored. We used to look for UGC, used to publish a document where PhD scholars, there were information was PhDs, and we used to see books. But these days, Google Baba is there. And in many cases, as we said, most of the cases, Google will inform you whether it is an explored area or unexplored area or underexplored area. Now, let me again come back to appointment of judges. Now, you thought that in constitutional law is an area which is an area of my interest, and I will do pure constitutional law, not a hybrid topic like criminal law and constitutional law, pure constitutional law. In constitutional law, you found that out of many, maybe federalism, maybe amendment power, maybe power of the president, maybe 356, appointment of judges suits you very well. And you have, so your first criteria is, okay, interest. And you have found a theme. That what is theme? Appointment of judges. But still appointment of judges is not exact topic. Critical study appointment of judges is not a topic according to me. It's not a topic. Why? Number one, it is not an area which is unexplored. Explored. So you will search in Google, you find thousands of material on appointment of judges. Thousands of material on appointment of judges. If there are enough material coming in the Google, that indicates enough work has been done on that particular theme. I'm not taking what that is. Of course, when you search for women judges in the Indian judiciary, you will find less number of articles. Maybe very few articles, some newspaper reports, but not research work, research articles. If you find distinguished jurist, you will not find much. So when you Google distinguished jurist, you find there not much article. Your second criteria is fulfilled, that is, it is an underexplored or unexplored area. Unexplored area. So try to take something which is unexplored not just because it is in the headline, people say do this, it is very charming, it is very interesting to me. Okay, interest is okay, but interest has limitation. Interest has limitation. So now I come to that point which I left in the initially, that in appointment of judges there is one area which is unexplored and work is required to be done, and not me, not others, the Supreme Court itself said that more work is required in this area. What is that? If you remember NJSC, let me give you a clue. If you remember NJSC judgment, the Supreme Court in the end of an NJSC judgment has made some observation. While NJSC judgment was 4:1 on this issue, which I am trying to explore from you, all judges agreed that this is an area where more work required to be done. Just 1 minute, can you suggest me which is that area? Anyone you can guess?
So accountability.
Accountability, no. You may be close, but yes. Purnima.
Sir, collegium system.
Collegium system is a type of big term. What in collegium system?
Sir,
should
by
they-
S.P. Gupta judgment, the Supreme Court had laid the precedent and guidelines.
Okay, got
how
the
the
point. Purnima, let me give you option. Should there be collegium system? Should there not be a collegium system? Do you want to say like this?
Yes, sir. This
No,
area.
no. But then it is not the answer. It is not the answer.
No, sir, not specifically the upright, the way objectively saying that there should be or should not be, but if there is, and Supreme Court said there the independence of judiciary should be maintained, but the collegium system should be looked into in order to check the transparency. So
Yes,
that
yes, good. Yes, that is correct. So in the end of the judgment in NJSC, the Supreme Court has sought opinion of general public, that collegium system will continue, but we agree that in collegium system there are certain various shortcomings, and the Supreme Court has enumerated 4 areas, and it has sought opinion from public that please let us know how to improve collegium system. These 4 areas. So I remember this 4 areas, like transparency, as Deepak also mentioned and Purnima also mentioned. Then eligibility. Who would be eligible? Constitution says anyone 10 साल से ज्यादा हो गई practice, eligible हो गए. 10 साल से ज्यादा practice हो गई आपकी हाई कोर्ट में, आप eligible हो गए. But then what? There would be 10,000 lawyers, more than 10,000 जिनकी practice 10 साल से ऊपर होगी. हाँ, open हम करना चाहते हैं. We want to open selection should be there. But then, so the Supreme Court has called for. I also submitted a 4 or 5 page recommendation that how to improve collegium system, how to what should be eligibility criteria, how transparency can be maintained without any compromise on the independence of judiciary, because judiciary is very, very sensitive to its independence, sometimes oversensitive. It has an impression that एक कोई भी एग्जीक्यूटिव आ जाएगा तुम्हारी इंडिपेंडेंस तुरंत खतरे में पड़ जाएगी. तो ये जो है आप मत, you can criticize the approach of judiciary, but once judiciary does not agree, you have to go with it. You have to improve. So how to improve this collegium system? Now various around 1,000 opinion came, but nothing was done. The responsibility was given to Advocate General Office, but the Advocate General Office said that no, we are already preoccupied and it is very difficult to do. This is one area where work is required to be done, and Supreme Court itself wants some work to be done. It wants that, yes, we want to open We want to make an open advertisement for judges. Plus, please tell me, should we call all advocates who are 10 years and more, or should there be some criteria? They say they don't have time for this. You give us criteria. What is the criteria on which people may agree? On which people may agree. Some criteria has been developed, like senior advocates criteria has been developed, on which many people agree, many do not agree. But this thing always be there. When you write something, people will agree, people don't agree. So besides 3-4 topics that you have suggested, if you want to do an appointment of judges, that is one area which is unexplored. Hardly any work has been done on that area. Hardly. How to determine eligibility, how to determine how to maintain transparency. See, it is very easy to say that it is a judges club, judges appoint their own people. Very easy to say. There should be transparency. How to maintain this transparency? How to do it? So someone will suggest that there should be interview. Okay, interview. Should the interview be publicly displayed the way it happens in other places? And suppose 10,000 applications are there. Are you going to do the interview? And if the judges will be involved in that, when will they do the good judgments? So these are the questions, research questions, I would say, that you need to address. So the second is, first is that this should be area of interest. Second is it must be an unexplored area, or even if it is an explored area, in the explored area itself, it can be unexplored. Let me give you one illustration, and then I will open the forum for questioning. Capital punishment. A very, very popular topic among research scholars. Now, often students come with this capital punishment, and sensitivity should be certainly be there, because the state is going to hang a person. Unlike in USA, India has a good record that we do not hang many people. In last maybe 10 years, there may be less than 10 persons who have been hanged. But in USA, the record is very poor, very poor. So capital punishment is an area. So first thing, if any student comes to me, sir, I want to do capital punishment, I always discourage. I mean, so no. If you are interested in criminal law, do something else. If you want to do punishment, you do some reformative type of punishment. You do maybe some other types of punishment. But why capital punishment? A lot has already been done. So when a lot has been done, there are law commissions report, there are NGOs report. Many suggest that it should be repealed. Some suggest no, it should not be repealed. Parliament is not in the mood to repeal. Indeed, the parliament itself is increasing the scope of capital punishment. In 2018 itself, it has incorporated one capital punishment again. So unless the Supreme Court declares it unconstitutional, Parliament does not seem to be in mood to remove it. And there are occasions where Supreme Court has declared that no, capital punishment should go. One of my friend, in a lighter tone, he said that, you see, Anurag Deep, when Justice Chandrachud will be the Chief Justice, he will definitely declare it unconstitutional. I said, you let us wait. I don't think he will declare it unconstitutional. Anyway, why capital punishment? A lot of work has already been done. Just because you do not know, no. You do not know, it will add to your information is not the reason to do research work. In public sector institutions funded by public money, it has a particular purpose. Your research work should have some original contribution which is socially useful. You just come to the conclusion capital punishment should be removed. It has already been done. You just come to the conclusion the capital punishment, this way of doing capital punishment, hanging is not good. There are a number of reports. What is so new that you are going to do? So I will discourage. But again, in the capital punishment area, if you are really very interested, if you think that is very close to your heart, there are unexplored areas. And had there been time, I would have opened this, asked you a question, but let me give you an illustration. Let me give you a question. One question that is very, very decisive, and there is great dispute, is whether capital punishment has deterrence effect. Now, those who invoke for abolition, they say there is no deterrence effect. Otherwise, you see why these offenses are increasing day by day. They do. अरे population बढ़ेगी तो offense नहीं बढ़ेगा. mean, what is this argument? I do not understand sometime. और जो लोग कहते हैं कैपिटल पनिशमेंट देना बहुत जरूरी है, have they ever seen that whether it has really some impact or not? This is an area where strong research, good research work has not been done. Extensive and comprehensive research has not been done. Indeed, in USA, there are some research work. There are Supreme Court judgment. In 2015, there was a judgment of the Supreme Court where some reports of USA law schools have been quoted, where they say that because of capital punishment, they could avoid some of the crimes. So there are conflicting reports. So this is one area where a comprehensive, a serious and empirical work is required, that whether capital punishment really has deterrent effect, yes or no. And if your research work comes to a very strong conclusion, maybe the parliament will be compelled to rethink it. Maybe parliament, like law commission, can say that no, only in terrorism area, in rest of the cases, no capital punishment. Maybe if you come to the conclusion there are deterrence effect, then maybe others, NGOs who are adamant that no, capital punishment should be completely removed from the statute book, they will little dilute their stand. So 2 points I suggested you, that one, it is an area of interest. Second, it must be an area which is unexplored. And if it is an explored area, you have to look for what is the area which is unexplored in that particular thing. Third and final thing is that that should be an area of priority. Area of priority. What is an area of priority? What is an area of priority? Not just because when I always ask why this topic you have taken, sir, it is very important topic. Of course, very important topic. There are many topics which are important. But among the important topic, can you make a hierarchy? Can there be? Can you decide some priority? This is not like A plus B whole square, but you can. So now, so is it an area of priority? So it should be an area of priority, especially in the public funded institution. And when I see many topics, sometimes I feel why these type of research work is being done, while far more important areas are. Take example. How many research work has been done on right to health? And you've seen what India and the world has paid in last 1.5 years, especially India. How many research work in health? You just explore your friends. You will find there are various areas, maybe free speech. A lot of work has been done in free speech. And free speech is equally important. I don't say that. But you take example, labor rights. How many research work has been done on labor rights? I have seen various dissertation work. I have seen various PhDs, and I found there are various areas. This good research work has been done. They are very important areas, but labor rights remain an area of ignorance. Domestic workers. How many work has been done in domestic workers, on the area of domestic workers? So work for someone who is voiceless. Work for someone who has not got, who is not able to get headlines. Work for someone about whom probably they are important, they are significant, but they have gone to the margins. So let us start doing on those areas of research. So is it a priority area? That is very, very important for all of us to know and all of us to decide. Just ask your mind, is it a priority area, or is this area which is important but not on priority? So with that, I close this part of discussion. There are 10 minutes left. I request learned participants to agree with me, to disagree with me, to dissent, to disapprove, and make comments. I love harshest comment on my presentation. This you can say that is one of my great merit which I have cultivated through my friends and through my teachers, that you say that Anuragdeep sir, I don't agree with you. Thank you. Over to Vandana.
I think in the next 10-15 minutes we can take questions. Dear scholars, do you have any questions? I cannot see if anyone is raising hands, but generally there is.
आप क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स में भी डाल सकते हैं.
Right.
आप क्वेश्चन, हाँ, यदि आपका बोलने में दिक्कत हो रही है या फिर कोई आपका इंटरनेट का प्रॉब्लम है, वहाँ आप क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं.
Purnima has raised hand. Purnima?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, I have a question. Since you said that we should be focusing on the areas which are unexplored, and that will give us a good research work. And sir, what if my research is on the topic which has been explored earlier, and there's a vast of material literature provided in there, but my opinion and my perspective to that topic is unexplored? So there might be a topic of victimization, or because my research is in criminal law, and I'm seeking to work upon the victims for their justice. But since I have already seen that a lot of literature is already available on the victim compensation, the victim justice with respect to the area of punishment to the accused, with respect to the involvement of the victims, whether it should not be done, it should be done, and a lot of research has already been done. But when I have a different perspective to tell to the audience, or I have something new to share to which has not been explored in the area which has already been researched, so then what is your viewpoint, how that will give justice to my research?
That's a good question, and that is a problem that we all face. When I start thinking of writing for a research paper, start writing for a book, so the similar problem we face that Purnima has just mentioned, that I have a lot of work has already been done, but I have a view, I have a point which probably has not been made. So the first thing is that, Purnima, in the literature review, you have to see that your point of view has been mentioned by anyone or not.
Okay.
If it has not been mentioned, then you have a very strong case. But
Yes.
if it has been mentioned by someone, then probably you should rethink. Yes, Purnima, you want to say something?
No, sir, I'm agreeing with your point. Yes.
So, in the victim justice, a lot of work has already been done. Victimology has recently attracted attention. We have changed our law also in the last 10 years, 15 years. The courts have also changed their approach. It is no more accused-centric approach. So legislature has changed approach. Therefore, presumption of innocence has been compromised to a certain aspect for the victim. CRPC has been amended. Victim compensation has been incorporated. Executive schemes have come. So we find legislature, judiciary, and executive all are little more concerned about victim. Though initially the trend was to concentrate on accused. So good work has been done, but your point of view, so you have to see whether your point of view has already been taken by others or not, because the idea, and the same idea can crop up in anyone's mind. So this is one point. Secondly, if you want to do a work in a particular area, you feel very strongly about that, I think enforcement always remain an area which is unexplored.
Yes.
Enforcement, not just law, action under law always remain an area which is unexplored. So in victim justice, you know that in many cases, for example, due to take example that due to acquittal or discharge in serious cases, means accused has to be let off, and sometimes in very serious cases victims do not get justice. Or there may be cases where there are conviction after 20 years, But the court says, Supreme Court says that 20 years, 25 years, 30 years have passed, and therefore there is no useful purpose in giving maximum punishment. So just give him 2 years, 3 years, 2 months, 3 month punishment. Now, the court has reached to the conclusion that the delay was because of executive authorities, and the delay was because of these 3, 4, 5, 6 authorities. Take example of Rudal Shah case. Rudal Shah remained in jail for no reason. What Supreme Court has done? It has developed a compensatory jurisprudence. That is a great work that Supreme Court has done. That is good. But what about those people who were responsible for the illegal detention inside the jail of that poor person?
Yes, sir.
Why the Supreme Court has not gone into that? I understand that that is the sole prerogative or maybe responsibility of executive. That it was expected that the executives, the government will conduct an inquiry, find the people, fix the responsibility, take them to task. That whose responsibility was to see that these type of people who are acquitted, who have been released on bail, who have been released on maybe some other things, they should be outside, not inside jail. Whose responsibility? Is it the jailer who is responsible? Who is the secretary who is responsible? Somebody should be made responsible. That is not happening. This is one small example of Rudal Shah. So just the Supreme Court has just passed a judgment, and Supreme Court thought that I have completed my responsibility. That is not done. You have been empowered. What is the meaning of complete justice? Just to declare that a fundamental right is violated, and you say that it is something wrong, and you have just given a compensation of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh rupees. And what is the amount of compensation you give? This amount of compensation, why not this amount of compensation? So it is right that one should get all compensation through tort. But is it possible for a poor person to go in tort? Take example of Akshardham attack case. The Supreme Court came to the conclusion, clear conclusion, that innocent persons were implicated in that. It was not that it was just benefit of doubt. See, acquittals are of many types. One is benefit of doubt, other is honorable acquittal. It was an honorable acquittal in the view of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court clearly said that innocent persons were implicated, they remained in jail. But Supreme Court did not give any compensation for those people. Supreme Court said, go for tort law. Are you living in ivory towers? Tort law में एक आदमी जाएगा, इतना परेशान हैरान परेशान आदमी जाएगा, टॉट लॉ के लिए मुकदमा करेगा, उसकी अपील होगी, फिर उसकी अपील होगी, फिर उसकी अपील होगी, उसका रिकॉर्ड जनरेशन निकल जाएगी. What for 142 is given for you? 142 is not given to use it here and there. 142 is also given for this particular purpose to the Supreme Court. So you fix the responsibility. आपने उसमें कह दिया कि उसमें कौन, who was the investigating officer? You do not know. Why did not you call the investigating officer? Of course, you can say there is separation of power. What is this separation of power? You take example of the scientist Nambi Narayan case. What happened in Kerala? Nambi Narayan was falsely implicated. He was prosecuted, and persecution took place for any reason. Now the Supreme Court was sensitive enough to say that, okay, we will fix the responsibility. It made a committee headed by a Supreme Court judge. Supreme Court judge head committee found that these are the persons involved. It has referred the matter to CBI. The Supreme Court asked the Kerala government, are you going to take action? The Kerala government said, we are not going to take action. We cannot take action. It will touch upon the efficiency. It was not a case of judgment error. कोई जजमेंट एरर थोड़ी हो गया आपसे. आप अपनी गाड़ी चलाते हैं, आप गाड़ी की स्पीड लिखी है 40 किलोमीटर चलाइए, सामने स्कूल है, आप 80 की स्पीड में चलाते हैं. ये जजमेंट एरर थोड़ी है. जजमेंट एरर तब होता है जब आप हाईवे पे जा रहे हैं, वहां पे अलाउड है 80 किलोमीटर 100 किलोमीटर, और अचानक कोई बच्चा, अचानक कोई जानवर चला आता है, आप ब्रेक लगाने का प्रयास करते हैं, ब्रेक नहीं लगता. दैट इज अ जजमेंट एरर. सो Supreme Court has completely failed in its responsibility to bring these people to task. Why? Because executive will never and never and never do it. And when the executive do not do, the rule of checks and balance said the Supreme Court should have done it, and the Supreme Court is not doing it. So this is an area, Purnima, you can do research work, that
Yes, sir.
why these people are not, why the responsibility is not being fixed. What is happening? Even if the court has said that there should be an inquiry, has there been an inquiry? If there is an inquiry, what happened to those inquiry? So has any person been terminated? Has any prosecution started? I give you last example. Victim compensation scheme is there in Delhi and many other places. How is victim compensation scheme working? Are people getting victim compensation? If they are getting victim compensation, do they have to pay some bribe to others? So these are the areas. So enforcement is one area where we can work. Thank you. Any other
Thank you
question,
so much.
please?
I can see two more scholars have raised hands, Deepak Joshi and Guru Dutt. Deepak, you would like to go first?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So, sir, as you said, unexplored area. So, sir, in that unexplored area, either that area be an evolving area, or that might be an static area. As my research is on IoT, Internet of Things. So this is an evolving area. So what is your opinion when a researcher selects an area which is evolving, which is a very current topic and evolving day by day? Every day there is some new invention or something. How to do research in that? What is your suggestions?
So you mean to say that one is evolving area and other is?
Other is static, sir, as in judiciary. It is a static area. We have Constitution of India, jurisprudence is settled. But in IoT, Internet of Things, development is going on daily basis.
No, I think you should take emerging area. If you have to choose between static area and emerging area, then certainly you should take emerging area. And emerging area should be certainly a priority.
And so how to go about that area? I mean, I am facing difficulty as in on daily basis, there are numerous articles and numerous inventions going on around the world. And those inventions are coming to India. So I am connecting Internet of Things with right to privacy in digital era. So firstly, the right to privacy in India, just through the judgment of Supreme Court, it is now being recognized legally. And secondly, the Internet of Things, this technology is getting more better and better. So they are getting more information about people day by day. So how to tackle with this difficulty?
Good, got the point. So Internet of Things and right to privacy, you are connecting, that is good. But I would suggest that right to privacy has to develop too much, because mere declaration that it is right to privacy, I don't think that is going to give some remedy to someone. So I think that you should concentrate on the area which is unexplored, like after declaration of right to privacy, what is the extent of right to privacy? In the privacy judgment itself, there are certain exceptions. So you can see whether to what extent for criminal prosecution right to privacy can be breached, to what extent in the name of national security that can be breached, to what extent for the purpose of health right to privacy can be breached. So you can in this you can further develop not just right to privacy. Right to privacy has already been declared. So in order to, so I don't think this is very much useful to explore what is right to privacy. It has been explored quite. So these are the areas where you can further explore.
Okay, thank you very much.
Guru Dutt.
Guru Dutt? Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
my question is on the same line which Deepak asked. Actually, sir, what happens that I was talking to my seniors and they told me that you will do research for 4 or 5 years and you are taking a very evolving area. There's a possibility that when you are about to submit your thesis, there's some new law, some new judgment, some new rule may come, and that may complicate or make your whole research irrelevant. I've personally seen in ILI also when ma'am was doing and suddenly a new bill came and she had to rewrite 2-3 chapters. So is it really feasible to take that risk, or I mean, what are your views on this, sir?
I will always say that the risk is worth taking, because even if a new bill comes, suppose, even if a new judgment comes, they cannot change the basic premises. That is yet to be settled. That is yet to be settled. So in your research work, you can settle those basic premises, whatever your topic is. So maybe in 4 or 5 years, when you do your research work, some new bill will come, but I don't think they will completely change the scenario. Let me give you a small illustration. Consumer protection. Someone wants to do consumer protection. Now, Consumer Protection Act was 1986, and a bill was pending, of course. So, so a bill is already pending. So you start doing your 2016, and 2019 a new law comes in. New law does not come from space or vacuum. Many of the provisions are similar to 16. Some of the provisions are similar to the previous amendment. Some of the provisions are based on the report of the committees. So even if a new bill comes, even if something new happens, I don't think it will be entirely new for you, because that must be based on some reports, maybe parliamentary committee report, maybe law commission report, maybe some previous bill. I will again suggest that you need to take that risk, because if a new bill comes and you incorporate that, your work becomes the first work on that particular bill, and you get a first movers advantage. Give you one more example. IBC came in, and then one of the ILI scholar, he did his PhD from IIT Bombay, and I discussed with him that maybe IBC is new, there can be new development, new amendment can be made, and maybe it can be declared unconstitutional. What will you do? But you see, that is what I'm telling. The risk is worth taking. Now his PhD is going to be probably the first PhD. He has already come up with a book on IBC, and the book is like maybe hot cake. So no risk, no gain. Some risk can be taken, but risk must be intelligently taken. And I think you, or maybe Deepak, they are exploring this risk. So take a calculated risk, and then you decide. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for reassuring again.
Deepak Joshi, have you raised hand again?
No, ma'am. I was just agreeing with whatever sir said.
All right, all right.
Don't just agree, also disagree on something. Huh?
Okay, surely, sir. Whenever I
Yes,
get opportunity.
and you can ask. You means anyone can ask a question again. There can be a supplementary, and you can ask as many questions as you want. Don't keep it for any other lecture.
Not even for tomorrow, right? Okay, so Guru, that fear was actually a genuine one. We all keep on thinking whenever we start off, whenever we think of writing a research paper, that tentatively we have in mind that there is no law on that, there is a bill pending. So what would happen if a bill is passed meanwhile? So does anyone have any question? Any more questions? I do not think so. And if scholars have, I think they can be taken tomorrow. I would say it was really interesting session. And it was indeed a lecture on legal research methodology, because when I deliver lectures on research methodology, I know that I do not interact it much with criminal law and competition law, but the way you touched upon all the areas like terrorism law, criminal law, death penalty, that made it really intriguing. So thank you so much. And if there are no more questions, then I think I should end the class and we can meet tomorrow, right? Thank you so much again.